Hello, my pre-health students, and welcome to from my home office. That's my printer, in case you're wondering what that is there. Yeah, my printer. Yeah, pretty basic office from this angle. Anyway, welcome. Today is April the 4th, or the video in lieu of April the 4th. And what we are going to do is look at reproduction and heredity. So we are on the last topic, and today we're going to look at reproduction and keep it very technical. A lot can be done with reproduction and female health, but we're going to keep it basically, name that part, how do we make babies? So we're going to look at the male parts, sperm production, the female parts, and then the really confusing or detailed loops of reproduction in terms of ovulation and menstruation. And that's quite confusing, but it's basically name that hormone, what does it do? So again, we're going to go in quite a bit of detail. So just to give you an outline, today these lectures are in lieu of Thursday's class. On Tuesday the 9th, we'll do a bit of review and then finish the last topic on heredity, which really is a short topic, a little bit of review overall, and then on the 11th, that's a Thursday, there is no class in lieu of you writing the test. Now, important, the test dates open on Wednesday at 9 a.m. to Friday at 6 p.m. So it's a change in time, but it needs to be changed because all the stuff in the course must be completed by the last day of classes, which is the 12th. Okay, so that's what we're doing. Also, note on SFIs, as of the recording of this video, there is only 2 people have done it. So please take the time, fill it out. It closes surprisingly fast when you think about it, because your last week will be crazy, but it closes on the 12th of April. So please make sure you take the time to get some things in. Good. Okay. So that is the brief introduction. What we are going to look at is chapter 23. And in chapter 23, we are going to look at the primary and secondary sex organs. And then as this is listed here, it talks about the female first and then the male. I'm going to do the male first because the male is less tricky, because the female, with all the cycling hormones, it's tricky. But it's a beautiful example of negative feedback. So we're going to look at the organs. We're going to look at the control over puberty, talk about ovulation, menstruation, sexual responses, then repeat everything for the males and talk about the formation of spermatogenesis, great word, and then look at how the sperm gets to the egg. And that is what we're doing here. Okay, so we've jumped to page 465 of the textbook, where we look at the overview of the reproductive system. The reproductive system consists of primary and secondary organs. And basically the primary ones produce the cells and produce and house the sex cells, and the secondary organs just enable them to unite. So it sounds tricky, but hopefully by now you know that in the males, it's the testes that produce the sperm and house the sperm until it's ready to leave the testes. And then in the ovaries, that is where the eggs are produced for the female. A generic word for sex organs is gonads. And then the word for the sex cells themselves are gametes. And the gametes are sperm in the males and eggs in the females. So primary are the sex organs themselves and producing the sex cells. And then when we look at the secondary organs are all the other organs that are needed for reproduction. And this is talking about the ducts, the glands, and the penis. So we're looking at the ducts to get out, which we'll go in more detail. The glands, there are 3 glands. The the prostate, the seminal vesicles, and the bulbourethral gland, and then the penis. And they're all important for storing and transporting the sperm. And then when we look at the female is the, so the eggs are produced in the ovary, which is the primary, and then you are looking at the fallopian tubes and the uterus, which we'll look into more detail later. Hi, to go through the introduction of the, I have an introductory video here. If the sound doesn't work because I'm doing a video of a video, take and just go to the Google Doc and watch it that way.
Is to produce and deliver sperm to fertilize an egg in the female. These sperm are produced outside of the body cavity by the testicles, which are located in the scrotum. The scrotum protects and supports the male reproductive organs that are located outside of the body cavity. These include the testicles, epididymis, and vas deferens. The testicles produce about 300 million sperm each day. However, this is possible only if the temperature of the testicle is 93.2 degrees Fahrenheit. The scrotum maintains this temperature by adjusting how closely it holds the testicles to the body.
Okay, let's have a quick look here at what we've got so far. The testicles are the two primary organs, and inside these testicles are a lot of convoluted tubes that then join together to one tube, and then it feeds out into this part here on top of the testes. Then it comes out with this tube here. The testicles in humans need to be outside the body. Actually, I think in mammals.
Is to produce and deliver sperm to fertilize an egg in the female. These sperm are produced outside of the body cavity by the testicles, which are located in the scrotum. The scrotum protects and supports the male reproductive organs that are located outside of the body cavity. These include the testicles, epididymis, and vas deferens. The testicles produce about 300 million sperm each day. However, this is possible only if the temperature of the testicle is 93.2 degrees Fahrenheit. The scrotum maintains this temperature by adjusting how closely it holds the testicles to the body. After the sperm leaves the vas deferens through the ejaculatory ducts, they pass the openings of the seminal vesicles.
Okay, it doesn't show it here, but there is an opening called the inguinal canal about here, where not only the tube, but a bunch of other tissues such as muscles and blood supply go into the abdomen, and I'll show you that on the other diagram. So the sperm is created in the testes, then it goes up the vas deferens, up, this is the bladder, so it goes up and over the bladder.
The seminal vesicles, which are located near the base of the ejaculatory ducts, secrete a thick yellow substance to nourish the sperm. This secretion forms the interior of each testicle consists of multiple lobules containing 2 or 3 seminiferous tubules. It is within these tubules that sperm formation begins.
And the seminal
sperm moves out of the tubules into the epididymis and then into the vas deferens. The vas deferens carry the sperm upward into the body cavity. After the sperm leaves the vas deferens through the ejaculatory ducts, they pass the openings of the seminal vesicles.
And we'll talk about the challenges for that later.
Semen is the sperm-containing fluid that is ejaculated at the climax of male sexual excitement. From here, the semen travels into the 8-inch long urethra, which transports both urine and semen, but not at the same time. At first, the urethra is surrounded by the prostate gland, and then it is surrounded and protected externally by the penis that is relaxed except during sexual excitement. During sexual excitement, the penis stiffens and enlarges. The seminal vesicles, which are located near the base of the ejaculatory ducts, secrete a thick yellow substance to nourish the sperm. This secretion forms 60% of the volume of the semen. Located just below the prostate gland are the bulbourethral glands. These glands open into the urethra, and during sexual arousal, they secrete the pre-ejaculate fluid that flushes out any residual urine from the urethra.
Okay, so we talked about the 3 glands, the seminal vesicles, which are up here. They create 60% of the seminal fluid. Then underneath the bladder is the prostate gland. And notice that there is this Y
Semen
of tubes.
is the sperm-containing
so this
fluid
tube comes
that is
from the bladder,
ejaculated
which
at the
has
climax
the
of
urine,
male sexual
and
excitement.
the prostate here,
From here, the semen travels into the 8-inch-long urethra, which transports both
ejaculatory
urine
duct
and semen,
comes
but not at the
into
same
here,
time.
and then they
At
join
first,
and
the
become
urethra is surrounded by
so
the
this
prostate
is why
gland,
in older men,
and
the
then it
prostate
is surrounded
gland
and
is a
protected
concern
externally
because it can
by
affect
the penis
the
that is
movement
relaxed
of
except
the
during sexual
ejaculatory
excitement.
fluid, which will affect
During
ejaculation,
sexual excitement, the
and
penis
also
stiffens and
can
enlarges
swell
so
up
it can
and
deliver the
affect
sperm into the
urination.
female vagina.
Then so
During
we got
the expelling of the
prostate gland,
semen,
seminal
which is
vesicles
known
does
as
about
ejaculation,
60%. The
the prostate gland
adds
secretes
more,
a thick
and then the
alkaline fluid that
bulbourethral
increases
gland
the ability of the
is
sperm
sort
to
of
move
it's
in the semen.
ejaculatory fluid, and the
Located
job of the bulbourethral
just below
gland
the
is
prostate
to
gland are the
clean out
bulbourethral
the
glands. These
urethra
glands
to
open
begin
into the
with
urethra,
because
and
of the
during
urine
sexual
that
arousal,
will also
they
be in
secrete the
urethra.
pre-ejaculate
Urine
fluid
is
that
acidic,
flushes
if you
out any
remember,
residual
and
urine from the
sperm is
urethra.
not healthy in an acidic environment. That's why it needs the fluid. The fluid inside is basic to help counteract the acidity of the urine, and also to make the make the vagina and the uterus more hospitable for the sperm to travel.
It also lubricates the urethra to help. When the male ejaculates into the vagina of the female, the sperm must travel upward through the uterus to fertilize the egg in the fallopian tube.
Okay, so that's the summary of that. So when we look at the testes, as the testes come down, here's our list of words. We got testes, scrotum, and spermatic cord. So the testes is the scrotum is the whole sac in which the testes are in. The testes are just the organ. Now, and when we look at it, I said there's a spermatic cord that has more than just the vas deferens in. So here is the tubules where the sperm is made. The sperm then collects into the epididymis. Epi means on top of. So it's at the epididymis where it will mature and then travel up through the inguinal canal into the body. So if you look here, you will see that it enters in through the abdominal wall, right here, in through the abdominal wall. Because here's your
the sperm pass through
abdominal wall right here.
When the male ejaculates into the vagina of the female, the sperm must travel upward through the uterus to fertilize the egg in the fallopian tube.
The whole collection that includes the blood vessels, the nerves, which are important for sensitivity, also for stimulating the hormones that affect the nerves don't stimulating the smooth muscle to cause contraction. Good. And so when we look at it, the epididymis comes up, then you've got your seminiferous tubules, your ejaculatory duct is in your prostate gland, and then that will continue on. So make sure if you know all these terms, we've talked about all of them. We haven't talked about the corpus cavernosa and corpus spongioso, but we will get to those in a bit. So that is the male. Now this is quite the interesting angle. So this is a frontal view with the penis lifted up so you can see the scrotum. And as I explained before, the scrotum is more than just the testes. The interesting part that you may have heard, so the scrotum contains the testes, the spermatic duct contains the blood vessels and the nerves, and in the scrotum there is also these muscles. This is the cremaster muscle, and the cremaster muscle is very important to control the location of the scrotum. The sperm needs to be at a certain temperature, which is lower than body cavity or lower than body temperature, in order to mature properly. It is the cremaster muscle that if the body is cold, if it's cold outside, it will contract, moving the scrotum closer to the body, and if it is too hot, it will relax and move them farther down. Okay, so that is the concern there. Okay, let's look again at the testes on this diagram on page 467 and look at the vocabulary related to it. So you have the lobules, which are all these coiled tubes, basically. Or sorry, the lobules are the sections, and in the lobules are the seminiferous tubules. And the seminiferous tubules are the tiny tubes on which the sperm is produced. And we'll talk a little bit more about sperm production a little later on in the chapter, but it contains something called germ cells, and germ cells are the layer that give rise to gametes. So you kind of have to have the background layer there to begin with and give it off. And then we will also look at something called Sertoli cells. Okay? So there's inside the testes, there's inside the testes is tubules. Inside the tubules are Sertoli cells, and then around the tubules are interstitial cells, also called Leydig cells. And Sertoli cells are called sustenacular cells, which you may see in another textbook. Okay? So the testes go to the ret testes, and then it goes to the sperm goes to, in the lobules, to the ret testes, the epididymis, and then out the vas deferens. And the vas deferens travels up into the body cavity. Okay, here's the summary of the accessory glands. The accessory glands, we have the seminal vesicles, which produce the yellow yellow fluid, which goes into the ejaculatory duct. Now notice what the seminal fluid is made up of. Fructose, which is an energy source and a substance for nutrition, which is a substance to nourish them and to enable mobility. There is also a lubricant in them. More of the lubricant comes from the prostate gland, but I kind of clump them together. The prostate gland sits on the base of it, and it is a thin, milky alkaline which adds to the fluid, and the fluid enhances sperm mobility. So, there's three things that we might as well finish the bulbo. It sounds like it's a big word, but bulbo is bulb. Urethra is the P tube. So the bulbourethra gland is the bulb at the bottom of the P tube. And it secretes a clear fluid to lubricate. So when we're looking at the seminal fluid, it's basically to nourish, to enable sperm mobility, and to lubricate and there's four. So nourish, help mobility, lubricate, and neutralize the acidity of the urethra. Good. Okay, now let's look at the penis. The penis has the shaft, and if it is an uncircumcised male, the glans penis or the hood the pubis or the hood is still covering the end of the penis, which is the glans penis. And the foreskin is removed in circumcision. That is a big deal, usually for a couple of reasons. One is for religious reasons. Another is to keep it clean. And another is so that you match your daddy, basically, is why they're doing it now. If it is not cleaned properly, you get a waxy buildup called smegma. Okay? And then the external urethral orifice is on the tip of the penis. Now, if we were to take the cross section of the penis, there is this spongy fluid called the spongy tissue called the corpus cavernosa. The corpus cavernosa there's two corpus cavernosa, and then here is the urethra, and inside or around the urethra is what is called the corpus spongiosum. So one spongiosum, two corpus cavernosa. And the whole function of this spongy tissue is for it to fill up with blood during arousal. Now, the tissue will fill with blood, causing the penis to enlarge and become erect, and that will prepare the penis for easy delivery of the sperm into the females. Okay. Now, when we look at, actually, that's a 20-minute video, so I'm going to stop here on this video, and then I will produce a second video.